And it's Sunday morning, and we're coming to you live from Charlotte, North Carolina, the Eastern time zone. But whatever time zone you happen to be in, welcome to the show. It's Sunday morning. Baseball still king right now. Before you know it, we'll have the basketball playoffs, we'll have the National Hockey League playoffs, and things will be humming once again in that direction. Anyway, in the meantime, thank you very much for listening. We're broadcasting on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network, as well as podcasting on most of your major podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, Spreaker, you name it. We're on most of them as well. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the Sports Wagering Zone. Yes, we are. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 baseball games once again on tap for today, this afternoon, by the way. Games that we've been looking at the line movement in the games and trying to see which direction the pros are going as far as their money is concerned. The 3 games we're going to look at today are Washington and the Yankees, Milwaukee and Miami, and of course the Twins and the Tigers. Those are the 3 games that we have on tap for today. So if you're thinking of betting those games beforehand, before the show started, you're already thinking about it, perhaps some of the information we have to give you will help you make up your mind on which team to bet. Otherwise, we're also going to be going into some power rankings, the early power rankings for the NFL. See, the NFL is out there every day. There's always something going on in the NFL. So the New York Post came out with their power rankings this morning. So we're going to kind of go over some of those for you as well. In addition, as usual, we're also going to take a look at yesterday's sporting events as far as betting is concerned, kind of give you an idea of what happened so that you can bring your records up to date if you're keeping them, give you an idea as to how the underdogs are doing, how the favorites are doing in the 3 major sports right now. So just a reminder, you're in the Sports Wagering Zone. My name is Chris Pardo. I'm going to be here for you today. And of course, we're here for a good 35, 40 minutes talking about the various situations in the betting industry as well. So let's take a look at what happened yesterday in the sports world as far as betting is concerned, which is we're primarily most interested in. In the National Hockey League, past couple of days, the dogs were starting to raise their little ugly heads up there and started taking care of some business, but yesterday, back to normal for you guys that like to bet those favorites in the National Hockey League. They went 10-3 yesterday with the Coyotes and Sharks, one game that happened to close as a pick'em as well. Now, the upsets yesterday were, of course, by the Rangers at plus 260 against the Bruins. The Senators were at plus 155 against the Jets, and the Predators a plus 105 against the Hurricanes. Those were the dogs that won yesterday in the National Hockey League. The overs went 8-6, but the unders, well, they still lead 50.6%. Well, 50.5% altogether. And of course, first period overs, they went 8-6 yesterday. But the first period unders still lead at 51%. So in hockey yesterday, the favorites came back strong, 10 wins and 3 losses with a pick'em thrown in there as well. And as we always tell you, when we talk about a game being a pick or whatever the line is, we are referring to lines coming out of Las Vegas. So just kind of give you an idea so that if you're listening to the show and you say, oh, that was I had that game. I had the Coyotes. That wasn't a pick'em or whatever. Just understand that is where we get our numbers from. We have to take one particular area to get them from. I know they're different throughout the country. It's up to you to see which ones they are. Meanwhile, in the NBA, the favorites also went very, very well. Big favorites day yesterday, 7-0 straight up in the NBA, 5-2 against the spread, as the Pacers were a 4-point dog against the Wizards, and the Rockets, 16-point dogs against the Jets, all covered, even though they did lose the game. Lost the game, covered the bet. That's the most important aspect as far as we're concerned. The Nets 3.5-point favorites, or 3.5 points favorite, rallied to cover the Nuggets 125 to 119, and the favorites still lead at 51.3%. The overs are 5-2. They increased their lead up to 50.5%. So that's the NBA. Meanwhile, in baseball, also, the favorites went 10-4 yesterday, with the Mariners Rangers closing as a pick 'em as well. So the upsets yesterday, as far as baseball was concerned, the Giants at a plus 120 against the Padres. The A's a plus 115 against the Rays. The Tigers are a plus 165 against the Twins. And the Blue Jays a plus 130 against the Astros. The favorites still lead in Major League Baseball, okay? And the overs went 11-3 to take the lead yesterday, and they're at 50.4%. Overs at 50.4%. So the favorites, they reigned yesterday, not only in baseball and basketball, but in hockey as well. All three sports, the favorites did very, very well. The dogs were in their dog pounds, just kind of had their muzzles on them, couldn't say very much, but that's the story there. And of course, you're going to have days like that. And of course, if you've listened to the show before, you know that we are here primarily as contrarians, as we primarily bet on underdogs. We kind of like them in that direction. And hey, every now and then you have to take your licks. You have to understand, you can't take a snapshot of one day, 1 week, or even 1 year as far as how things are going in a particular system, a particular method of selecting teams. You have to have a long period of time because it is a marathon. Okay, at any point in time, you can point to where favorites are doing super well, or you can point to a time when the dogs are doing very well. What you need is to look at the whole picture and see over a period, a longer period of time, what the story is. And from our standpoint here, we kind of feel that the dogs, especially in betting on baseball, is the way to go. So that's the story as far as yesterday's results are concerned. We're going to take our first break. And as always, we tell you, we have 3 breaks that we take within the show. They're all only about a minute and a half of duration, and then we come back to business. And when we do come back, we'll be looking at the 3 games on tap for this afternoon, checking on the line movement, as well as trying to figure out which direction the pros are going as well. Those games, once again, are the Nationals against the Yankees, Milwaukee against the Marlins, and the Twins against the Detroit Tigers. Those are the games we're going to take a close look at and let you know how they're doing. We're also going to bring you up to date as to how our little method of selecting, following the pros, how that system is kind of working so far. We'll give you all the stats and numbers on those as well, so you can kind of decide which direction you want to go. So let's take that first break. And just a reminder, like we say, 1 minute or so. If that's the case, we will be back in about 1 minute into the sports wagering zone. And welcome back. You're back in the sports wagering zone. I'm Chris Pardo, coming to you live From Charlotte, North Carolina, right here on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network, Blackjack TV on the East Coast, and we're also podcasting on most of your major podcast platforms such as Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we're there for you. Anyway, thanks again for listening. We totally appreciate you listening to the show. Numbers are doing very well, and that's because you guys are talking about the show. Maybe you're telling your friends, or maybe people are just finally finding us. So kind of give you an idea as to how well we're doing in that direction. It's Sunday morning. We have 3 games on tap in baseball today. So let's take a close look and see the 3 games that we kind of think are getting the most action from the pros. At 1:05 Eastern Time, you got the Washington Nationals, 13-16, playing the New York Yankees, 17-16, over 500 finally. These 2 teams are interleague games, okay? They split the first 2 games. The Nats won the first game 11-4. They were plus 160 road dogs. The Yankees came back yesterday. They got a 4-3 win in that game yesterday, cashing in. They were a minus 110 home favorite. So 110 is not really all that much wood that you have to lay to get a team like the Yankees to bet on. Now, in today's rubber game, the Nats send out Joe Ross. He's 2-2 with a 4.39 ERA. The Yankees come back with Domingo German, 2-2 with a 4.32 ERA. Almost very similar. Okay. The Yankees opened as a minus 150 home favorite after yesterday's game. And the Nats right now are a plus 130 road dog. That's how they opened. The pro money has really come down on the Yankees, driving the line up from minus 150 up to 160. Now, keep this in mind. Teams that receive 15 cents or more of line movement in their favor, and if they're coming off a win, like the Yankees are doing, okay, they are at 57.7% so far this season. Now, teams that have line movement in interleague play, which this is at almost 61%. Because it's an interleague game, the numbers are a little bit higher as opposed to an interleague, not an interleague game. So we've also seen some liability on the lower score as well, because the total is at 9.5, but the under is juiced up to minus 115. Now, both these teams have really been doing very well and have been profitable to the under so far this season. The Nationals are 18-10 to the under, and the Yankees 20-13 to the under. So in this particular game, you got the New York Yankees as the choice of the pros in this situation. In the meantime, also at 110 or so, the Milwaukee Brewers 18-16, going down to Miami playing the Marlins 15-17. Now, these are also non-divisional opponents. They split the first 2 games also. The Marlins won the opener 6-1. They were minus 130 home favorites in that game. And the Brewers won 6-2 yesterday as minus 115 road favorites. Now, in today's rubber match, the Brewers have lefty Brett Anderson going to the mound. He's 2-2 with a 4.15 ERA. And the Marlins send out their ace, Sandy Alcantara. He's 1-2 so far this season, but with a 2.95 ERA. Now, as we look at the line in this game, it opened, the Marlins listed as a minus 125 home favorite, and the Brewers a plus 115 road dog at the open. Now, the pros are backing Miami at home. They think they'll take the series, as we've seen Miami move up from being a minus 125 to minus 135 on the money line. Now, the Marlins also have value because they're a favorite with a low total, which is 7 in this particular game. And remember, from a historical standpoint, everything that we look at how it's been going on, low totals have benefited favorites because you anticipate a lower amount of money, a lower amount of runs coming in, okay? And it's likely to come from the team that has the better record, or what we would call the better team of the two. Now, Miami's going to lean on their bats in this one, that's for sure. They're hitting at 234 this season. They're ranked 15th in Major League Baseball. The Brewers are hitting 215, and they are ranked 27th. The Marlins are 21 plus 21 in run differential. The Brewers are -7. So in this game between the Brewers and the Marlins, the pros are on the Miami Marlins. Also, 1 of 10, Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers. The Twins are 12 and 20. The Tigers, not as good either, 10 and 24. Now, these are American League Central rivals. They split the first two games of the series. All three games we're talking about today, they've split their series so far. The Twins won the opener 7-3. They were a -140 road favorite. And the Tigers took yesterday's showdown 7-3, okay, cashing in as +165 home dogs. Now, in this afternoon's rubber match, the Twins start their ace, Kenta Maeda. He's 2-2 with a 5.02 ERA. The Tigers come back with their lefty, Matt Boyd, who's 2-3 with a 2.27 ERA. Now, as we look at this game, the line opened with the Twins a -140 road favorite, Tigers a +130 road dog. Now, the pros have sided with the Twins, as we've seen Minnesota kind of drop down from -140 to -160. Minnesota has value. They're a team coming off of a win. They're getting 10 cents off line movement, or even more in their favor in this particular situation. It's 20 cents of line movement. The Twins have a big advantage at the plate as well, because Minnesota's batting at 239, which is 10th best in the league, and the Tigers are at 207, and they're at 28th, their ranking as far as batting is concerned in the American League. The Twins are -2 in run differential so far this season. The Tigers are -68. That -68 is the worst in Major League Baseball. So in this particular game, once again, the pros are on Minnesota over the Tigers. So as we take a look at these three games, once again, let's recap them real quickly as far as the line movement and as far as which direction the pros, the big money, sharps, whatever you want to call them, which direction they're going. In Washington against the New York Yankees, they like the New York Yankees. Milwaukee Brewers against Miami Marlins. In that game, they like the Marlins. And Minnesota against Detroit, they like the Minnesota Twins in that situation. So those are the three games on tap for today. That's the information we have to give you as to which direction the pros are going in this games for today. Now, again, we leave it up to you. Not saying you should bet with them, not saying you should bet against them, but just take this information, and if you can kind of add it to whatever type of system you're using now, it might be of some help in helping you determine which direction to go as to which team you're going to bet on. Now, as far as this little method system, whatever you want to call it, has been doing, yesterday we had three plays. The Yankees game, of course, we had that one. That was a win for the method. Then we had the Twins in the second game. That was a loser. And, of course, in the game with the Astros, we also lost that one as well. So yesterday we had three selections. One came in, two came on the loss side. But altogether, with all that in tow, here are the stats. So far this season, we've had 102 plays this way, 56 wins. And so at the far as the percentage is concerned, we're almost at 55%, in spite of the past few days where we've really had some bad days. The day before, we had 0-3. But going into those days, we had a 3-0 day. We had a couple of 2-1 days. But again, over a long period of time. You have to watch it because it goes up and down, as we all know, okay? In this particular situation, it's been kind of on the downward swing yesterday before yesterday. Now, yesterday kind of came back a little bit. Maybe it'll come back to 2-1 after today's games as well. So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll keep you up to date as to what the numbers are. Like I always say, we don't have a dog in this fight. All we do is giving you the information. Whatever the numbers come out to be, we're going to keep you up to date, honestly, as to what the numbers are, so that this way you can make a more calculated decision. Okay. Anyway, just from before we take our second break and we come back and go over our NFL power rankings, just want to take a minute to explain to the weekend. We usually have some different listeners that we have during the week, so just want to tell you about our newsletter that we're thinking about putting together. Nothing has been set up as to do it yet or not. We've been coming up with some thoughts and ideas for a newsletter that would be of some benefit to you as the listeners. One of the things we talked about was giving you the lines emailed to you, okay, at an earlier time before the show, so that this way you'll know what 3 games or whatever games we're picking for that particular day. You'll know which direction the pros are going, so that you can use that information one way or another. So we're trying to put things together. There's 3 or 4 other ideas. We want to make a nice little package so that we can get you interested in joining and getting involved with us as well. So just a reminder, if you are interested in getting involved with us on this newsletter, very simply, just send an email and send it to thesportswageringzone@gmail.com. That's the sports wagering zone at gmail.com. All you have to do is say, yes, I'm interested. And once we get everything all put together, we'll let you know on the air that we're doing it or not doing it. And if you are one of those that wants to get involved, we'll get back to you personally, on via email, let you know what's happening, how it'll all start, when it'll start, how it'll all work. All that stuff will be put together. Okay. So anyway, if you are interested, once again, that email address is thesportswageringzone@gmail.com. And like I said, some of the responses we've been getting, people have also made comments how they liked or didn't like parts of the show or whatever. You're more than happy. You're more than welcome to put your comment there as well. But all we really want to know is yes or no, or do you want to be involved? And if you're not, then don't send the email, obviously. Okay. Anyway, that's the story. We're going to take that second break. We come back. The New York Post came out with their new power rankings, the very first ones for the new season in the NFL coming up. We're going to take a look at those and we'll tell you what they are. So that's the story. We'll be back into the zone right after this. And welcome back. Welcome back into the sports wagering zone. I'm Chris Pardo. I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina, coming to you live on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network. So now let's take a look at the New York Post came out with their 2021 NFL Power Rankings. And as you know, Power Rankings are one of the tools in our situations where we can use information about their rankings as to helping us select teams and games as we're going along through the season. So this is an early first look at them. And of course, this is according to the New York Post. This is what they're saying because, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, they all changed teams, right? They're all different teams now. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, they're still where they were going to be before the season started. So even though there was a lot of noise and hoopla going on at this point in time, they're still staying put. Things could change. There's no doubt about it. So the offseason of the disgruntled quarterback is just about done for the time being. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the next phase now that free agency is over, and they're going to just picking, the major characters are already been chosen. All you're going to do now, teams looking to fill little spots here and there to fill their rosters with any people that they might think they might need after they've seen what they got in the draft. So which teams made the biggest gains? Which teams took the biggest hits? So here we go. We're going to give you the first 5 on top, and then we're going to take a break. We'll come back and do the next 5. And then, of course, we'll let you know just numerically, how the teams stand. So at number 1, the New York Post has the Kansas City Chiefs because playing with 3 backups, the Chiefs' offensive line was really exposed in the Super Bowl this year. Okay. And instead of waiting to get healthy, they started fresh by signing their top free agent guard, Joe Thuney, for $80 million. And they trading a first-round pick for their top available offensive tackle, Orlando Brown. Now, guard Laurent Duvernay in Tardif is expected back from his opt-out to provide medical care. He was the guy that was a doctor that decided to get out of football for 1 year, wanted to be more helpful to everyone because of the COVID situation. And now he's coming back, and he was a pretty good guard when he was playing. Now, their third-round rookie, Creed Humphrey, he could start at center also if they need him. That's how you fix one of the weaknesses without creating other weaknesses. So as far as the number 1 spot, they like the Kansas City Chiefs. At number 2, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had about $24 million in salary cap space as of March 1st. And then since then, they re-signed Brady, Shaq Barrett, Gronkowski, Suckup, Sue, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, and even others. So they'll be the first team in the salary cap era that started in 1994 to bring back all 22 starters. First time since the salary cap came into play that they have signed all 22 starters. In the first round, they took Joe Tryon as a pass rush specialist as well. So in the number 2 slot, they like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and these are the 2 teams that they feel are going to be Super Bowl contenders. Meanwhile, the number 3 spot, the Buffalo Bills. Now, you can't beat the Chiefs without sacking Pat Mahomes and creating a 3rd and long situation for them. The Bills' first 2 selections in the draft were Greg Rousseau, who had 15 and a half sacks at Miami last year, and Carlos Basham, who had 23 straight games with a tackle for a loss while he was at Wake Forest. So Buffalo added those 2 players to try to make it more rough on the Kansas City Chiefs. Bills are in number 3 as far as power rankings are concerned. At number 4, you got the Baltimore Ravens. They're a run-first offense, and it wasn't appealing to the top free agent wide receivers. So the Ravens settled for Sammy Watkins, and then they drafted Rashad Bateman and Tylan Wallace Jason Owa, their second of first two rounders, and they landed in a perfect pass rush situation. Now, they're replacing Brown with their right tackle, Alejandro Villanueva. They got him from the Steelers. No less, that was a brilliant, brilliant selection. At number 5, you have the Green Bay Packers. Now, if Rodgers gets traded, look at it this way, the Packers are definitely going to go down into the 20s as far as power rankings are concerned. Same goes if he sits out this season. Either way, doesn't play, whether he's sitting it out or whether he's traded away, they are definitely going to drop down in their power ranking. If he plays, the Packers, again, they're the second best team in the NFC, despite no major free agent additions to the team. Okay. And they keep ignoring what Rodgers has been asking for. He wants a playmaker until the third round of the draft, where they got wide receiver Amari Rodgers. So in number 5 slot, if Rodgers does play, they're in number 5. If he doesn't play, whether he's traded or whether he decides to sit out the season, they will then definitely drop into the 20s somewhere. So once again, the top 5 power rankings, according to the New York Post, which are pretty good selections. They are, they have some pretty good statistical guys working for them. They put things together. They do very, very well throughout the season. Number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Those are your 2 Super Bowl contenders. Also, you could call them as a contender also, the Buffalo Bills in number 3. Number 4, you have the Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, you have the Green Bay Packers. So we're going to take our final break of the day, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the next 5, and then we'll give you a little close update on that. But just keep in mind, these are from the New York Post, and once again, they are very good with their power rankings. We follow them all year long, and in the past, they have done very, very well. So let's take that final break, and just a reminder, we'll be back into the zone in approximately 1 minute. And welcome back. Welcome back to the Sports Wagering Zone. I'm Chris Pardo, coming to you live right here in Charlotte, North Carolina on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network. Also podcasting on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, you name it. We're on most of the major podcast platforms as well. We're going over the top rankings, the first rankings of the season so far, coming out of the New York Post in New York City. And the top ones are right now, number 1, they like Kansas City. These are the teams that they think could be a rematch as far as playing in the Super Bowl is concerned. They got Kansas City Chiefs at number 1. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 2. And then these other teams they kind of think are Super Bowl contenders. You got the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Green Bay Packers, if there's also a little asterisk goes along with the Packers. They're at number 5, but if for some reason they trade Rodgers, or if he decides to sit the season out, they will definitely drop down into the 20s. Also, as a Super Bowl contender, at number 6, you have the Cleveland Browns. The top 2 free agents, their pass rusher, Jadeveon Clowney, they picked up, and they picked up a safety, John Johnson. And the top 2 draft picks, they have a cornerback, Greg Newsome, and linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. They all play on defense. The biggest addition for the offense would be a healthy and a great wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., if he comes to play. So that is considered the Cleveland Browns as a Super Bowl contender. Now, the rest of the teams in the top 10 are this way. These are the best of the rest of them. The Los Angeles Rams at number 7, no first rounder for the 5th straight year. Now, you know what? That has to catch up with you somehow, eventually, don't you think so? No first round picks, even though, many times they die off anyway. They don't make it, but still, at least you have a shot at them anyway, Instead, they bet by upgrading Goff to Stafford, and that's a piece that was needed to complement that defense that is really great with them and will hopefully get them over the hump with Stafford. Okay, so at number 7, you have the Los Angeles Rams. At number 8, you have the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they played the long game. They drafted a quarterback of the future because that was Trey Lance instead of capitalizing on a win-now situation. The 49ers are much better than their 6-10 record suggests because their 2020 season, well, as you know, injuries, all types of injuries, especially to the quarterback, and that was their big problem. So at number 8, you had San Francisco. At number 9, they have the Indianapolis Colts. Wentz is their 4th different starting quarterback in the past 4 years. But is this Wentz the pre-injury guy from when he was back in 2017, where he was the MVP in the NFL, or is he the 2020 demoted starter of the Eagles? That's the question that has to be answered. So you have a young team with an ascending pass rusher, but there's a big question mark at left tackle, and that's the area that is most important to protect the quarterback with. And also settling in at number 10, you have the Seattle Seahawks. Now, if Wilson thought trashing his offensive line would make some changes, he was definitely wrong. Now he has to mend some fences. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure some noses have been pushed in a little bit as far as that's concerned, including with their coach, Pete Carroll. He was playing at MVP level last year before the Seahawks kind of went down near the end of the season. And one more choice at number 11, you have the Dallas Cowboys. At number 12, you have the Miami Dolphins. Number 13, the New England Patriots. 14, the New Orleans Saints. 15, the Pittsburgh Steelers. 16, the Arizona Cardinals. 17, the Tennessee Titans. The New York Giants are at number 18. Number 19, the Washington Football Team. The Los Angeles Chargers at number 20. At 21, you have the Minnesota Vikings. The Falcons at 22. The Bears at 23. Las Vegas at 24. And, of course, Philadelphia Eagles at 26. Meanwhile, the Broncos are also at 26. There's a tie there. Carolina is at 27. New York Jets at 28. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 29. The Bengals are at number 30. The Lions, 31. And bringing up the rear, the Houston Texans. Who else? So those are the power rankings according to the New York Post today. We're going to follow them closely throughout the season. Like I said, they come out with their rankings, every couple of weeks or so, kind of let you know what they are, so that this way, if you're using rankings as a tool in doing your handicapping, taking the rankings from the New York Post is not a bad idea. There are other places you can get them from also, but the New York Post does very, very well anyway in the past. So that's the story there. So we're going to say goodbye for today. I want to thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a very, very pleasant Sunday. Where I'm at, it's raining. It's going to be kind of a miserable Sunday for today. However, wherever you are, I hope the sun is shining. And I hope that if you're going to be making any bets today, that you are on the plus side of those as well. And just quickly taking a look at the 3 games we have on tap for today, as far as chosen by the pros on this Sunday. You have the New York Yankees in the first game, Miami Dolphins, the Fish, number 2. And of course, we have the Minnesota Twins against the Tigers as well. So those are the games for today. Again, have a very pleasant Sunday. And also, if you're betting, have a very profitable Sunday as well. So until tomorrow at 12 noon. We're on 12 noon Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays, we're on at 11 a.m., 12 noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So until tomorrow, once again, have a pleasant and a profitable Sunday. We'll be back again tomorrow at 12 noon right here on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network, live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Goodbye, everybody.